What's up, everyone? It's the Tyrant here. Welcome back to my remastered Halo 3 Mythic Difficulty walkthrough, aka LASO or LASO, which stands for Legendary All Skulls On. Today we're doing the final mission of Halo 3, appropriately titled Halo. So first you're going to want to step back, grab a battle rifle, keep your rocket launcher for now. You're not going to need your rocket launcher for long. Actually, you don't really need it at all, but I like to use it at least once because we haven't really used the rocket launcher at all during this playthrough, because the rocket launcher, at least in your hands, doesn't have a lot of effect on Mythic Difficulty. Not as much, at least, as it does in your allies' hands, such as the Arbiter, for example, on the Mission the Storm. So ready your rocket launcher. There's going to be a brute combat form with the hammer that we're going to want to take from him. And immediately run to the left-hand side of the spire. Try to avoid as much flood as you can if they get in your way. Hit them with the hammer if need be. Just like with the sword, you'll get your shields back. So turn around, stand right about here, and the shockwave from the hammer should bring you right up here. Again, take the hammer, jump, crouch jump I should say, and you're on top of the spire. Now you can also grenade jump up here if you're finding that you're having a hard time using just the hammer, but the grenade jumps of course are a little bit more tricky because you will lose your shields and you can kill yourself in the process. Especially if the flood are wearing your shields down. So we're going to jump over here to the side and make our way to Sergeant Johnson. Now, you want to ready your battle rifle here. And we're going to use Sergeant Johnson's infinite laser to take out the flood on top of the spire. So you'll shoot him once. And if you're lucky, the Spartan laser will fall right off. It's the second Spartan laser that is the infinite spawning one, or the infinite shot one. So go ahead and grab that, trade it out for your hammer. Or trade it out with your hammer. And now you have an infinite laser that you can use to take out the flood from a safe distance. Now, I will say that when Gravemind says, I have defeated or beaten, whatever, fleets of thousands, consumed an entire galaxy of flesh, mind, and bone, the final wave of flood will appear, and this is the one you really have to watch out for, because one combat form has a rocket launcher, it's a human form, and another flood combat form has a fuel rod gun. Both can actually hit you from the top of the spire, even though you're way over here. So you want to watch out for those. But for now, just sit back and take out the flood. To me, this is the second easiest mission in the game, because really once you get the infinite laser, you're in good shape. Now again, if you are trying to get the infinite laser, it's the second one that he spawns with that actually has infinite ammo. The first one does not. If you're unlucky enough that Sergeant Johnson falls off the cliff, which you probably saw happen in my quad mythic run of this mission, then I highly suggest restarting. Because on Mythic, these guys, it's not that the flood is tough, it's just that there's too many of them here. And you just don't have enough ammo to deal with them. You don't have the energy sword like you did in the mission Cortana. And the hammer will only get you but so far. The hammer is not nearly as effective against the flood as the energy sword. The Sentinels do help to an extent, and they are infinite spawning. But it's not enough to really deal with the flood at close range. There he is. So that's the cue that the final wave is coming up. Now remember, one flood here has a rocket launcher, and another has a fuel rod cannon. Alright, there's the fuel rod guy. As you can see, he can hit us from here. So I'm doing my best to dodge the fuel rod rounds because really once you take those guys down, the rest of the mission is pretty much in the bag. That is, as long as you don't screw up the drive, which I'm going to show you how to do perfectly. So now the flood are gone, we can go back to the door. You're going to want to weapon juggle the Spartan laser all the way to the entrance of the control room. Don't take it with you because you'll lose it. You'll lose it when you emerge from the boss battle.
They'll be hitting any minute.
You don't need any equipment here. A bubble shield is useful, but it's not necessary. So we're going to weapon juggle. There's Sergeant Johnson. See? All's well that ends well.
Do I take life or give it? Who is victim and who is foe?
It's trying to rebuild itself on this ring.
Gravemind asking the tough questions here. You should talk, Sergeant Johnson. You should talk. So go ahead and drop the Spartan laser right here. And we're going to take the fuel rod gun in with us. Again, it doesn't really matter which weapons you take inside with you because you're going to be using Johnson's laser. Now watch this. I'm going to shoot Johnson again so that he actually spawns when he comes back in, or when we're done with the boss fight. So back up against the wall here. Doesn't really matter what you hit Spark with because he's going to be invincible.
I take no pleasure in doing what must be done
until you get the laser. You can easily just jump over his beam without any real problem.
I have kept it safe. It belongs to me.
Not for long.
Come and get it. Now Johnson, you can take Johnson's laser. Come on, Johnson. There we go.
Stop now before
3 direct hits is enough to destroy Guilty Spark, but of course you actually have to hit him, which isn't easy when you're trying to jump and dodge the laser, his laser at the same time. There we go. There's one.
Accept your legacy.
It's not easy with the blind skull. There's 2. There's 3. Say goodbye to Johnson. So as you can see, Johnson is still alive.
I am sorry, Spark.
We saved him.
Come.
That one's for you, General Heed. Of course, he's not alive for long because the Flood are going to get him. So the reason we took the Spartan laser outside the control room right there is because all you get is an assault rifle. Uh-oh. Johnson's coming back. All you get is an assault rifle when you emerge, so you lose Johnson's laser. But if you leave it outside the control room, you can pick it right back up. And you can use the assault rifle to clean up any infection forms. Be careful not to get in Arbiter's melee path, because he will kill you.
Even in death, the sergeant died.
So the Sentinels are going to emerge over here from the left-hand side. They're pretty easy to deal with. We're going to sit back from a distance and take out all the Sentinels. And then let Arbiter deal with the Flood. Alright, so there are going to be some more sentinels on the far side. We need to take them out. There's one.
Find the doorway in the cliffs, Chief.
There's two.
Dawn is on the other side.
Gonna give Arbiter a little hand here with the sentinels. And Arbiter's doing pretty well by himself. There we go. Pathway should be clear at this point. And you can go inside of the
See that
structure.
doorway further on? Get to it.
Now just inside there's going to be some sentinels and some elite combat forms. Let Arbiter go first. Age before beauty. You can take out the sentinels from a safe distance here, or you can let Arbiter do it himself, or the Flood. Because the Flood combat forms here all have plasma rifles.
Save your anger for our people.
Good job, Arbiter. Now there's going to be a couple of more combat forms over here. So I like to try to lure them out. Then hit them with the laser. It takes 2 hits with the laser to take out an elite combat form. They are tough guys. Try not to get hit by the plasma rifle here. There we go. Now, just inside, there's going to be a bunch of carrier forms. 5, I believe, to be exact. You can actually take them all out with a single laser blast. But they will produce infection forms once they pop.
Defeat is simply the addition of time to a sentence I never deserved.
Now, what I like to do here is dual-wield plasma rifles to mop up the infection forms. You don't have to, but it looks kind of cool. Blue lasers. I know it's technically plasma, but still. It's the only time in the game where I dual wield and actually use both weapons at the same time. Might as well do it once before this walkthrough is over, right?
Save your fire for the brutes.
Alright, so we should be in good shape here. Now, just beyond the
Don't let this ring be the end of us, Chief.
hall over here, there's going to be a huge swarm of infection forms that we're going to need to take out. I like to stand back from a distance and just use the laser before they actually come in. You don't need to do this. You can easily just mop them up with the plasma rifles, but it helps a little bit. Helps to reduce their numbers.
Be careful.
And poor Arbiter just jumped right in the way. Mop up the rest with your plasma rifles, and you are good to drive. Arbiter will always be in the back with you when you get in the driver's seat. So you don't need to wait for him.
Come on, Spartan. Go, go, go!
So follow the exact path that I take here and you should be fine. I'm going to go ahead and take a right. There are 3 of these circular segments that you need to worry about, but they're not that difficult as long as you know where to go. But you want to definitely keep up the pace here because behind you the ring is collapsing. So if you're not fast enough, you will fall into the abyss with all of these orange platforms. And also be careful of the sentinels, because if you're in the air with the warthog, the sentinel beams can flip you over potentially, so just be aware of that. So just avoiding the ramp right here so you don't fall into the abyss. As you can see, it knocked off the platforms just beyond it. Now I like to take the center route right here for the first tunnel, except when I get to the end. Then I typically go either left or right, just because my warthog has fallen off that skinny little tunnel before, so that could happen. So we're going to go to the right this time. That way we don't fall into the abyss. And now we're in good shape to go for the second roundabout. There's going to be a brute with a brute, or a brute infect, or a brute combat form with a brute shot here, so be very careful with him. Now my advice for this part is to go around to the right-hand side. Should be in pretty good shape here.
Charging sequence at 30%.
I tend to avoid the ramps because you never know which platforms are going to explode. It is scripted, but this is the only ramp that I tend to use, is this one right here. Looks pretty epic though, doesn't it? So now we're going to the third roundabout. There's going to be a lot of pure forms here. A lot of ranged forms. Ooh, everyone's favorite, right?
50%, Chief.
Some tank forms towards the end. You can easily just run them over. As you can see, my shields are down, so we have to be very careful here. Of course, Arbiter has the luxury of having his shields recharge. So we're going to avoid the carriers right here, go right down the middle. We're going to take the tunnel this time just because there are flood with fuel rod guns right there. And since I have no shields, that's pretty much a recipe for disaster. There's the Dawn.
Charged.
We are almost home free. Now be very careful. I almost slipped right off the edge right there. Just make sure you hang up just a little bit further to the right, and you should be fine. There's the Ark's artificial sun. You can see in the distance. Isn't it pretty? Again, stay close to the right-hand side. Now this part's a little tricky right here. There's a ramp that suggests you should go up the ramp, but if you do, you'll fall into a pit. So go just to the right of the ramp. There's the ramp right there. Just go to the right, and at this point you should be home free. And that is the entire Halo 3 saga all 9 missions on Mythic Difficulty, Legendary All Skulls on. I hope you found this guide useful to you.
Jump!
And I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, I hope you'll consider subscribing for more great content right here on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful week. Stay tuned for my Halo 3 Remastered, or Halo 3 ODST Remastered Mythic walkthrough, which is coming up next. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'll catch you all right back here next time. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.